You're sitting in silence after another relationship has collapsed. The room feels heavier than it should, as if the air itself carries the weight of everything you gave and didn't receive back. You think about the time, the energy, the patience, the small sacrifices you made every day. You believe that being loyal, attentive, and dependable would secure her love. Yet she drifted away, slowly at first, then completely. This isn't just your story. It's the experience of countless men who discover, often too late, that devotion alone doesn't guarantee attraction. What you thought would bring closeness, constant availability, endless giving, often becomes the very reason she loses interest. One truth you may not have realized is that women rarely meet a man without instantly categorizing him. She doesn't necessarily do it on purpose, but it happens all the same. Very quickly, she decides what you represent in her life: the provider, the protector, the confidant, or the entertainer. Once she places you in that box, it's hard to escape it. If you lead with money, success, or material comfort, you become the provider. Useful, reliable, but not necessarily desired. If you lead with emotional support, always listening, always soothing, you risk becoming the therapist she turns to while someone else excites her. If you lead with humor, always playing the clown, you might be fun but not taken seriously when it matters. The trap is that you may believe these roles make you valuable. Not in a way they do, but value without attraction isn't enough. She may appreciate you, she may rely on you, but she may not crave you. No, the way out of this cycle is authenticity, not the version of yourself designed to please, but the one that holds boundaries, that projects confidence without arrogance, that knows when to say no. When you show up as a whole man instead of a role, she has to meet you on deeper ground. Yet authenticity isn't the whole story. Traction requires something else: direction. When you hesitate to lead, when you avoid decisions, you leave a void. And nature fills voids quickly. She takes over. At first it feels practical, even fair, but slowly respect fades. Without realizing it, you've become the one following instead of leading. And when that balance tips, desire collapses. This isn't about domination, it's about presence. Across history, women survived by partnering with men capable of acting, deciding, and protecting. Weakness in that context wasn't just unattractive, it was dangerous. Even now, those instincts run deep. If you carry yourself with insecurity, if you bend every time she tests you, if you hide your true opinions just to keep peace, she doesn't just lose interest. She begins to feel something stronger: contempt. That's why the nice guy struggles so much. He believes kindness should be enough. He thinks patience, generosity, and constant availability will prove his worth. But here's the paradox. What makes you safe doesn't always make you desirable. Many women, especially when they're younger, seek intensity, mystery, unpredictability. They say they want stability, but they chase chaos. And the man who offers nothing but safety gets overlooked. By the time stability becomes valuable, it's often after years of heartbreak. At that point, the nice guy isn't her first choice. He's the safe choice. Deep down, you know the difference. The problem isn't that kindness repels women. The problem is that kindness without strength looks like weakness. When you avoid conflict to keep her happy, when you never set limits, when you always adjust to her mood, you may think you're showing love. What you're really showing is that her opinion matters more than your self-respect. And without respect, attraction withers. You may have noticed another pattern. The more open you are with your emotions, the more distant she becomes. You believe that sharing your fears, your sadness, your vulnerability will bring you closer. After all, you've been there for her countless times when she cried, when she broke down, when she needed reassurance. But when it's your turn, the response is not the same. She listens for a moment. She nods, but deep inside something shifts. Instead of feeling closer, she feels less attracted. Not because she's cruel, not because she doesn't care, but because of a deeper truth. Many women struggle to connect with male vulnerability. From childhood, they've been taught that men should be strong, unshakable, the emotional rock. And when that rock cracks, discomfort replaces compassion. It's not fair, but it's real. This creates an imbalance. You're expected to carry her burdens, to validate her feelings, to give her comfort. Yet when you ask for the same, she may see it as weakness rather than humanity. The imbalance grows until you realize that what you gave freely is not being returned. And here lies the cruel paradox. The very intimacy you crave can erode the attraction you want to keep. When you reveal too much need, too much softness, she doesn't lean in. She pulls away. The same paradox explains why emotionally unavailable men often draw a stronger desire. It's not that women consciously want coldness. It's that scarcity fuels value. A man who is not always available, who does not respond instantly, who seems harder to win, he creates a challenge. That challenge lights up the brain with dopamine. The pursuit itself becomes addictive. Meanwhile, your consistency, your eagerness, your constant presence feels safe, but also predictable. There's no mystery, no chase, no uncertainty. And without those elements, passion fades. She may tell herself that she wants someone like you, yet her emotions respond more intensely to the man who seems just out of reach. This doesn't mean you should pretend to be distant or play games, but it does mean that availability without limits is often mistaken for weakness. Your time, your attention, your energy, they hold value only when they're not given away carelessly. Over time, you'll notice something else. She tests you. Sometimes directly, sometimes subtly. She disagrees to see if you'll change your mind. She pushes your boundaries to see if you'll enforce them. She mentions another man just to watch your reaction. It feels manipulative, unfair, yet most of the time it isn't conscious. It's instinct. She needs to know you're steady. She needs to know your words hold weight. She needs to see that you won't collapse under pressure. These tests aren't about tormenting you, they're about calibrating her trust and her respect. The problem is when you fail them. When you fold every time, when you back down just to keep harmony, you confirm her suspicion that you're not strong enough to hold the frame of the relationship. The truth is that women respect strength more than they admire sacrifice. Without that respect, love cannot grow. Attraction may survive for a time, but it always dies when respect is gone. And at the foundation of respect lies one demand above all: security. Despite decades of progress and independence, despite personal success and education, the instinct remains. What women want most from men is a sense of safety, emotional, physical, financial, and social. Financial security doesn't mean she's after money, it means she wants to know you can handle life, that you can pay bills, survive setbacks, plan for the future. Even if she earns her own income, your ability to provide stability gives her peace of mind. Emotional security means she can trust you not to disappear in crisis, not to collapse when things get hard. It means consistency, calmness, and presence. If you are volatile, unpredictable, or constantly seeking reassurance, you cannot give her that security. Physical security is simpler, but just as deep. She doesn't necessarily need a fighter or an athlete, but she wants to feel that, if danger came, you wouldn't freeze. That you could protect her, or at least stand between her and the threat. And then, there is social security. She wants to know that being with you raises her status, not lowers it. That you can navigate social settings with confidence. That you are respected by others, that her choice in you reflects well on her. Security, in all these forms, outweighs love in her subconscious calculations. She may feel affection for you. She may even care deeply. But if you cannot make her feel secure, the bond will not last. Conversely, she may stay with a man she does not truly love because he gives her security she cannot find elsewhere. This is a difficult truth to accept, because you may want to believe love is enough. That devotion, kindness, and shared feelings can hold everything together. But biology and psychology run deeper. Her instincts for survival, protection, and stability will always shape her choices, even when she doesn't realize it herself. And when those instincts are not met, she will leave. There's another reality that takes men by surprise. A woman's sense of self-worth is often tied closely to her physical appearance. From childhood, she has been praised for her looks, her dress, her smile. Those messages accumulate until, by adulthood, beauty feels like her primary currency. This creates a dependency on validation. Compliments, glances, online attention, these are more than passing pleasures. They reinforce her sense of value. When validation fades, insecurity grows. This is why attention from you carries such weight. When you tell her she's beautiful, it matters deeply. which when you don't, it can feel like rejection. As years pass, this dependency intensifies. The natural decline of youth brings anxiety, even fear. She notices the stares are less frequent, the compliments less automatic. For many, this drives the search for cosmetic fixes, for attention on social media, for reassurance wherever it can be found. Understanding this gives you power, but also responsibility. Some men use it to manipulate, alternating between validation and withdrawal. They exploit the insecurity. But the ethical path is different. Recognize her vulnerability without abusing it. Respect that her sense of worth has been shaped by forces outside her control. Attention itself becomes the currency of her world. Social media amplifies this to a scale unseen before. The photo, the post, the story, each one is a bid for validation. But this is not a modern invention. Women have always competed for attention, from the village square to the high school hallway. The platforms may change, but the psychology is the same. This explains why indifference cuts so deeply. When you withdraw attention, when you no longer notice, she feels not just ignored but diminished. To men, silence can be neutral. To women, it can feel devastating. That fragility explains both the drama and the subtle tactics designed to bring your focus back. In this economy of attention, competition never stops. Even among friends, comparison is constant. Who looks better, who receives more admiration, who holds the room? This competition fuels jealousy when you so much as glance at another woman, because in her mind, the contest is always alive. Then comes the truth that unsettles many men most. Over time, most women cannot and will not match your sexual drive. This is not rejection, it is biology. For men, desire is relatively constant. For women, it fluctuates with cycles, hormones, and emotional context. She may want you passionately one week and feel indifferent the next. Early in the relationship, novelty masks this difference. You believe the passion will last forever, but when the honeymoon phase ends, her baseline reappears. It is often lower than yours. This doesn't mean she doesn't love you. It doesn't mean she finds you unattractive. It means her wiring is different. Desire for her is tied less to physical stimulus and more to emotional connection, to safety, to context. If the bond between you weakens, her desire weakens too. If she feels insecure, distracted, or resentful, intimacy fades quickly. This can leave you frustrated, confused, even resentful. But expecting her drive to mirror yours leads only to disappointment. The healthier path is acceptance. Focus on quality over quantity. Understand the triggers that spark her interest. Maintain your own health, energy, and confidence. Recognize that her patterns are not personal, they are biological. When you accept this, you stop taking her changes in desire as a reflection of your worth. You start to see them for what they are, rhythms shaped by nature. Taken together, these truths can feel heavy. They reveal a landscape more complex than the romantic ideals you were taught. You might wonder whether love is even possible under these conditions, but knowledge does not need to create cynicism. It can create freedom, because once you see the patterns, you can stop repeating the same mistakes. You recognize when you're being used as a provider. You notice when your vulnerability is being misread as weakness. You understand why her attention shifts, why her desire fluctuates, why her respect is so closely tied to your boundaries. You become less reactive, less confused, less wounded by surprises that once felt personal. You begin to act with clarity. You set boundaries without fear of losing her. You protect your time and resources. You choose relationships where respect and attraction coexist. This awareness is not a weapon against women. It is a shield for yourself. It keeps you from wasting years on strategies that don't work. It keeps you from pouring love into situations that only drain you. And it gives you the ability to build connections based not on fantasy, but on reality. The choice is yours. You can continue believing the myths, doing what you were told should work, and learning through heartbreak. Or you can accept the uncomfortable truths now and step into relationships with open eyes. Remember this. Understanding female psychology doesn't make you cold. It makes you prepared. It allows you to love more intelligently, to give without being exploited, to connect without losing yourself. And if these insights resonate, stay with this journey. Subscribe so you can keep exploring the hidden psychology that shapes love, desire, and connection. Because the more you understand, the better choices you make, and the stronger, healthier, and more fulfilling your relationships can become.